Okay, right, coming down, there's our hotel there, the Delta. And we're coming right down now into the harbour. As you can see, it's very much a working harbour. I'm going to give you a little drive around so you can sort of familiarise yourself with what there is close by. You'll get a very big idea of all of that again tomorrow morning. So the hotel right there is
Okay. The snow crab industry, folks, last year was worth $1 billion to the Newfoundland economy, so that's why it's so important. Now, put on your jacket if you have one. We're going to walk out on this pier, and by the way, this is a working pier, so I gotta tell you, just be careful, and while you're out here, so.
Where that area of Laughter
I went to Costco a couple of weeks ago, and I kid you not. And the king crab comes from Alaska. Big hook. There were two. That one there, as you know, it's our Canadian flag. And it was Lester B. Pearson, the Prime Minister, brought that one in. Because we were a British colony, we flew the Union flag, the Union Jack, for years. And then this one here was designed by a local artist by the name of Christopher Pratt. He died there just a couple of years ago. And it's interesting about this one here, see the three white lines? That represents our native culture. A trident, that's a three-pronged fishing spear. Yellow points to what we hope is a bright future. The red stands for sacrifice, and I'll mention that before we get over to the War Memorial. The red stands for sacrifice. The red, white and blue represents the Union Jack, the Union flag. Can you see the Canadian connection in that flag? It's there. Connect, if you took a marker and connected every point in the center. What do you got? You got a maple leaf. So the maple leaf, Canada is the center of our world right now. So that is why that one is there. And if you go to Labrador, that's the Labrador flag. Water, woods, and ice and snow. Very simple. And before it became legal, guaranteed every time I'd show that flag, somebody would say, that looks like marijuana. It represents the black spruce. The black spruce is our provincial tree. Okay? And this one, they tell us this one predates the Union Jack. It's that old. It's an old Irish flag, brought over by the Irish many, many years ago. And in Newfoundland, there are two things we love: hockey and politics. Oh yeah, and they're both a game. They're both a game. We love it. As you well know, those of you that follow politics, John Crosby and Danny Williams and those fellas, we got some colourful politicians, I can tell you, over the years. Anyway, in Alberta, you're allowed to see some young Newfoundlander with that flag in his back windshield of his truck, the back window of his truck, and above it you'll see Republic of Newfoundland. That's our protest flag. And we have something, a beef with Ottawa. Beside you, there's the Cape Roger. This is where all the Canadian Coast Guard vessels tie up. Now there's one over on the other side of the harbour as well. And hopefully the Terry Fox, there's one named in honour of Terry, down by where his monument is. But anyway, Danny Williams was Premier, and they were fighting over $2 billion in equalisation. All the provinces and territories agreed that Newfoundland was being shafted, and they fought by them. And they went to Ottawa, and Martin was, so we get our deal with Ottawa. We love our country, but we do have disagreements with the federal government. And it looks like Mr. Polyvole, that's what I call him, said. And that was when, that was our first trip across the Atlantic. And he landed in Paris, Lindbergh. So there's a lot of history attached to this part of the world when it comes to flight and communication as well. When we get up in Signal Hill, I'll explain to you about that. Now I'm going to show you, and it's only a short walk down from your hotel. If you want to come down today, I don't know if they still keep it open, and what like they do. Right on the corner, this grey building, I pointed out on the way along. So in 1700, that building, see the Newman Company on the wall there, no? About, some of you were down at Shamrock City last night. And that's the next street, right here. Right there, that's George Street, just up here across from the stadium. And you've got to be curling fans coming from Saskatchewan and Alberta and those places, and BC and all across. That's where Gushu and the boys won their first Brier back there, and they won 5 since then. And they have a gold medal with Ross Howard. I remember when Ross Howard was with them, and they won the bronze medal last year. Remember, with only 3 players. Nichols was in the hotel room looking at it on television because he had COVID. And this summer, and this is the one good thing that came out of COVID, folks. The one good thing that came out of COVID. This whole street here, you see all the boxes out on the street here. They'll be removed now for the winter, okay? At some point. But July 1st, our birthday as Canadians, this is where this all becomes a pedestrian mall. And the street is closed off, and you can shop along here. These cruise ships come in, and there's the Yellow Belly Brewery right here on the left, and George Street is a one-way street right there. And all along here you'll see some beautiful restaurants. And somebody asked about banking. Well, here's your banking services. Yeah, there's Scotiabank right there. You got the Bank of Montreal coming up on the left. That used to be the Bank of Newfoundland, by the way. We had our own currency, our own money, before 1949. And so we sold. They sold that to the Bank of Montreal. There's the RBC. And just down a little further you'll see TD Bank. So all the banks are here. And again, I should be, there's a Japanese restaurant if you like sushi, and what have you. Broderick's Pub is right there, all along here. There's the Franklin Hotel now. This is the National War Memorial. This is the Supreme Court. Supreme Court, right there on the left. But back a little ways there, folks, is what they call the Rocket. It's a really nice little restaurant. Keep that in mind. And coming up, where this, the White, my wife and I, we had lunch there a few weeks ago at Oliver's, a nice little restaurant. Okay, now, when we get over here, let's keep going. There's TD there on the left. And if you're looking for music, well back, not far from the hotel, is what they call O'Brien's Music. It's a real nice one. Now, let's see, I think we can tuck in there ahead of that big culvert that's there, Alex. Yeah, just pull in there for a second up in front when you go through. We're not going to get out here, folks, because they're working. This is the War Memorial, and there's a very interesting story about that. It's all been dug up now, as you can see. That was put there. Next year is going to be 2024, which is the 100th anniversary. And the thing that I want to point out here, young Newfoundlanders between the ages of 17 and 25, most of them, and when they went over the top, the Germans were embedded. They had been there for months waiting. They knew the attack was going to come, and the Newfoundland regiment were on the front lines, and within 20 minutes 68 out of 800 were left standing. Literally wiped out a whole generation within a half hour. Half were killed outright, the rest were shot or wounded to the point where they couldn't fight anymore. And only 68, and I knew one of them personally, he lived in Trapassi, And he told me there was like a sleet storm in winter. Can you imagine? The bullets. As he was walking along, he said he put your head down. He said, and just like in Newfoundland in a stormy winter, the sleet was hitting you in the face. You feel the sting of it. And he said the only difference between in Newfoundland it was ice, but over there it was bullets nipping at your clothing. And he never got a scratch, but his bodies were dropping on all sides of him. The July Drive, they called it. And King George V, that red you saw on our flag, that was for sacrifice. And he, in 1921, decided that the Newfoundland Regiment had made such a great sacrifice just in that one battle. There were many more, but that one battle, that he determined that they should be called the Royal Newfoundland Regiment, and they're called that to this very day. So, right here in the National War Memorial. And from now on, we'll be able to come here and pay homage to those young men that lost their lives back 100 years ago. So it's a wonderful gesture, and it's great to see. You never know when you're doing a tour. Do you look up on top? Do you see that green window over there and the red window? You look straight up over between the two. Do you see a 12-day tour? I said, Don, I gotta bring you somewhere. And I brought him up, him and his wife, and showed him this periscope. And it's a bar, by the way. It's a bar. It's called the Crow's Nest because it's up 5 flights. And so that's where, when they dismantled the U-boat here in St. John, die happy. And I said, you deserve to die happy. So it was a wonderful gentleman. But there is the periscope. It's right there. All right, Alex, thanks for stopping. Now,
that was on the news? Yeah.
I'm not you guys together.
Long time.
It's a half.
Oh no, I was the loudest, I was the roughest that anybody ever could be. She was probably the opposite. And when I really wanted to get upset,
When you were around 8?
well, he was on selfies, that's for sure. And there was his motto, you know, I just wish people would realise anything is possible if you try. We all do. You notice it's like flowers.
Jellybean Row, different places, right? Jellybean Row. All right. And this up here was called Signal Hill because of the merchants that were here. The shipping went in and out of St. John's Harbour over the years, and so you had ships that couldn't communicate by phone because they didn't have any phones in those days, so they used flags to communicate with each other. And so that's why it's called Signal Hill. This is a beautiful old hotel that's now owned by the university here, Amira Innovation Exchange. That's where you find a lot of our doctorate students. But it used to be a hotel, the Battery it was called. You know, folks, we're going to give you there's a fair number of you. I'm going to check. Anybody need to use the washroom? Okay, we got some people who want to use the washroom. We're going to make a quick stop up on the hill here, and just keep going here. And I'm just hoping that the what? No, keep going up the hill. And that blue roof building there, that's the Johnson Geo Centre. I'll explain about that as we come down. That's the Johnson Geo Centre. And there's a small pond out here on the right. There's another one up here on the left. I want you to point that out to you. There's no river running in, there's no river running out. Yet it stays the same level. And it was created when a glacier passed over Signal Hill during the last ice age. And there it is there on the left. Gouged out the solid rock. We're 400 feet above sea level. And into that the spring water from the rocks flowed. And so we end up with what people call in geological terms. Let's see now if this place is open. Let's hope it is. Okay, we're just going to take time. I can't give you the time to use the washroom. So I'll simply say, do it as quickly as possible. Okay. All right. Oh yeah, it's open. So you go straight through the doors. The interpretation center is not open, but we can go in and use the washrooms here. I'll direct you in, and as soon as you
Where's your new feet?
118.
Oh, it's lovely, isn't it?
It is beautiful.
Yeah, it's fairly calm too. I mean, a little bit of a breeze.
You know, when we were out at Cape Spear, although it was misty, it was still a lot warmer than this. Yes. Unless it's just me. It's not bad though, is it? Yeah. We could be getting a lot worse, you know. Oh yeah. Whoop. Oh, watch that one.
Apples, take the right. Yeah, keep going straight after that black car. 1859, that prison was opened. That's the oldest prison in Canada, next to Kingston. And they're closing that one out another while. They're actually building a new one. On the right here, folks, that used to be the General Hospital. It's the Miller Centre. And that's where you go for rehab if you need help. You have a problem. You go in there for rehab, and it's also where our war veterans are housed. We got like I said, we got still a few. I don't think we have any. Our last Second World War veteran, he was 103, and I gave him a little donation last November. Believe it or not, he was 103, and he was still there with the poppy thing in Walmart or wherever you'd find him set up, and so he passed away this past winter. But we do have the Korean War, and we got some young people from the Afghan and Bosnia and so on. In fact, the first Canadian soldier to die in Afghanistan was a young guy by the name of Jamie Murphy. A suicide bomber walked up to him. Press the button. On the left here, folks, is Kitty Bitty Lake. Kitty Bitty Lake. That's the site of the oldest road. Anyway, very quickly, I got to point out something else. Have you had an iceberg beer?
Yes.
I'm sure you had crossing the island in the blue bottle.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, keep on going up here, and we're going to take a turn on the right. You might have to make a turn and then back up a little and go ahead again, but just up here next, there were that black car just comes along there, where the stop sign is too. Anyway, that beer is made from iceberg water. Iceberg water is the purest water on earth. And I questioned the brewer there a few years ago. I was curious, and I said to him, okay, right here, Andy. I said to him, tell me, how would you know if I came in here with a tanker filled with water that I got my own? We have the Newfoundland iceberg vodka. And I'll give you an idea of how popular that has become. When it came out first, several years ago, the government, liquor control, sent it to Chicago. There was an on-scene testing going on with vodka connoisseurs, I suppose you call them. And when they did it, it was all.
No, we don't have any smoke.
I like the name of the boat.
But it doesn't matter about the size of my boat. There were 4 fish.
Exactly, right?
It's unfortunately.
Gary.
And they say it was an open boat, something similar to this. And apparently, when you're hauling nets by hand, you put the net across the bow of your boat. And so you're pulling it across the boat. You take the fish out as it's coming up. Right, but they need 2 or 3 fellows. So she's down by the head. And all you need is a 3 wave. she's full of water. She can't touch it. And only for another fisherman has to see that. And he may grab one.
In here inside. I just very quickly point out here, folks, this is the church. It was started in 1840, was completed in 1855, and that is the Basilica of St. John the Baptist. Back in the day when that was built, there was a building here big enough for 200 Irish Catholics, 200. And at the time, the church had 10,000 Catholics. There were 10,000 Irish Catholics in St. John. So Bishop Fleming went to England, and somehow he made contact with Queen Victoria. And she must have been a forward-thinking lady at the time. She gave him permission. He asked her for permission to build a bigger church, so he needed more land. And she gave him permission because the British controlled Newfoundland. And she asked him one request: will you name the church after my favourite saint? She was Anglican, and her favourite saint was St. John the Baptist. And so this is the Basilica of St. John the Baptist, and just down over the hill is the church, or the cathedral of St. John the Baptist, right there. Everybody on board had something purple on, because that's their colour, right? And they thought I did it as a joke. Luckily, I had my sunglasses. That's what saved me. Now we're going to take a turn. Let's see here now. Can you take a turn right here on the right? You can make it. Yeah, you can make a right. You can make a left. Now, folks, we're going to show you some coloured houses here. Down over the hill we go. There's the Hungry Heart Cafe, isn't it? Anywhere around here, you notice, look. Anywhere around here you'll find these nice coloured houses. And you notice there's no two colours the same. And you notice also, you don't see any more vinyl. Once they changed the vinyl, there used to be vinyl, now it's all 5-inch clapboard. And that is basically what they used to use years ago. So there's switching back to clapboard. You got the different ones here. Alright, just keep on going there. So anyway, if you want to walk up this way, folks, look, left or right, if you were to go left coming up the hill, would any of those streets will take you back to the hotel, any of them. But we'll stop down here on the waterfront and let you out, and that way then
Lucky house.
This is Prescott Street. For years there was a traffic cop here, directing traffic. Okay, take the right here now. This is Water Street, folks, so yeah, we're going to take a right here. Good man. Okay, we're going to pull in up here now, and along up here, and you can walk in either direction when we get a place to pull in, and that way you can walk back. If you were to leave here now and walk back, it'd take you about well, roughly 15 minutes. But I'd rush you. But all along here you'll find nice restaurants. One of the ones I like is the Rocket. If you're looking just for a lunch, they got a great sandwich that they serve, and many other places as well.
Yeah, I know, I saw that.
Okay. Yeah, well, can you pull in here? Okay, we're going to let you out here, folks, anyone that's not going back to the hotel. And before you get out, I just want to leave you with one little thought. And I think it's something that you should try to pass on to tell. But I want you to pass this along and keep it in mind. We all need a hug.